Job Johnson, a lawyer, educator, justice of peace, and surveyor, was among those who bought the original tracts of land which became California. He was also responsible for laying out the streets in the borough. He died in 1868. Johnson's nephew was the first few principal that eventually became a university. He had a lot to do with the legislation and community support that led to the founding of California State. In honor of one of the principal founders of California University, a replica tombstone now rests peacefully in a small archive on campus behind the old main building. The university dedicated its new Founders Garden on June 2, 1996 as part of Alumni Weekend. The garden includes a peculiar foliage native of Pennsylvania University's founder, Job Johnson's tombstone. The garden's focal point is the tombstone, which is mounted on the wall of old main building, which Johnson worked to erect. Inscribed on the tombstones are words from the Bible. I know that thou wilt bring me to death, and to the house appointed for all the time. If a man dies, so shall he live again. All the days of my appointment time will I wait till my change come. Thou shalt call, and I will answer thee. In April and May 1957, the California-Pennsylvania Borough Council raised the local cemetery after receiving permission from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The borough had been unable to maintain the cemetery. The cemetery became overgrown with vegetation, and it was decided to eliminate the individual grave markers and erect on central monuments bearing the collective names of all persons buried in the cemetery. The cemetery was not in a good condition until Aligo Amenti became interested in recovering the stone to include it in the Founders Garden. After he approached the California Borough Council with his idea in September of 1995, Amenti was granted permission to look for the Johnson stone. This turned out to be the formidable task. Dr. Ronald L. Michael, anthropology professor at Cal U, and a group of his students began an excavation of the buried tombstones, looking specifically for Johnson's stone. The initial excavation was carried out with a shovel and trowel, employing as many volunteers as possible to participate. The intention was to recover one particular stone. The unit with the largest number of stones was excavated. After several weeks of hand excavation, the tombstones were not the only things that had been buried there. Their base had been deposited with them. 284 tombstones were recovered. The stones of Johnson's daughters, Elizabeth Ann and Harriet E., were recovered, as well as the stone of Estella Fry, a previously unknown granddaughter of Johnson. These stones were removed and placed in the California University of Pennsylvania.